I'm Steve Haverlah, owner of Haverlah Ranches, and this is Jed Tedder, General Manager of Haverlah Ranches. And what we wanted to talk to you about today was what we do as breeders of registered Angus cattle and why we do it. We are an operation that is very focused on producing cattle, bulls and heifers, for the commercial cattle so that they can have a profitable operation. And we wanted to tell you a little bit about how we make those decisions in our cow herd to breed the type of cattle that will go out into the real world and work for the commercial cattlemen. The first thing I want to talk about is EPDs, expected progeny differences. Every breed has a set of EPDs. Ours are for the American Angus Association and the Angus breed. And what we do is we look at certain specific things to target what we're expecting out of our cattle. One of the things we look at is CED, or calving knees direct, and birth weight. Those two tell us whether that animal, what percentage opportunity it's going to have a lower birth weight calf. Because in the commercial cattle industry, so many people don't get to watch their cattle every day, and so they need to have a cow that can have a calf and have a live calf and raise that calf, because dead calves are no good, dead cows are not any good. Some others that we do look at weaning weight and yearling weight EPDs. We look at yearling height. The reason we look at yearling height is because we don't want too large an animal. We want a moderately framed, thickly muscled animal. DMI, dry matter intake. That's a measure of how much forage that animal needs to take to maintain a certain body condition. We pay really close attention because we want efficient cows, and Jed's going to talk to you in just a minute about what we see out on the ground as a result of some of these decisions. Docility, milk, we don't want too high in milk. We want an average milk in the 20 range, give or take a little bit. That probably doesn't mean a lot to you, but that's a number that tells you you've got a moderate milker. We look at $EN. This is an efficiency measurement. How efficient is that animal with all of the inputs? Because a more efficient animal is a more profitable animal. Marbling ribeye, which deal with carcass, we pay particular attention to that. And then we look at dollar beef. The commercial cattleman puts a lot of stock in dollar beef. It's a amalgamation of several different traits, and it's a measurement that for the commercial cattleman is easy to read, but it, in my opinion, is by no means the most important trait. Some of these others are more important. I want Jed to talk to you a little bit about what that looks like on the ground in the herd.
As far as out in the pasture, when you put all the paperwork aside, we make a lot of decisions with this paperwork, but you also have to go out and put an eye on your cattle. Phenotype is extremely important on our cattle. Like Steve mentioned, we like a moderate frame cow. We're aiming at a 1,200 pound cow. That yearling height, they're a little bit shorter type, but very muscled up type cattle. We also look at structural correctness, your udders, feet problems, things of that nature. We want a female to look like a female and a bull to look like a bull. Fertility in our cattle is very, very important. We want those cattle to have a calf, a live, healthy calf on the ground, and within 45 days of having that calf be able to breed back and breed back soon within her first cycle. We also look at the efficiency, as Steve mentioned, on the milk. That's one of the traits that we look. We like a lower milking cow so that she puts more of that grass into her own system instead of milk production. The healthier she is, the healthier she can make that baby. It doesn't take a real large udder to raise a very healthy calf. So you'll notice on the EPDs on our cattle, our $EN number is way up. Most of them will be in the top 15% of the Angus breed. That's because our milk numbers are a little bit lower. That DMI number is really good for the most part on most of our cattle. So what that does is produces a very efficient cow. In other words, a very easy keeper, one that you can put out on some pretty hard country and she's still going to do pretty good with a calf at her side, and that causes her to breed back easier. We don't put up with open cattle. If we have open cattle, they go to town. We also get rid of any cattle with structural problems such as bad udders, and we will probably more than likely not put that heifer in our registered herd either. A heifer out of a cow with some type of structural problem.
As we're explaining this to you, we're not a niche market, but we're an outlier in most breeds, and in the Angus breed. You're not going to find most breeders focused on these certain traits that we are so heavily, but it's because at the end of the day, commercial cattleman is our consumer and our buyer, and we're commercial cattlemen, and we're in the business to have profit and to have profitable cattle. And the only way to do that is to have efficient, productive cattle. If you have cattle that miss calves, or you have cattle that don't raise a calf, or they don't raise a good calf, you don't have anything. The moderate frame is all that's about is it's part of that efficiency mechanism. But if I can run 3 cows where someone else can run 2 because they've got large frame, bigger cattle that take more input, I can tell you at the end of the day, we'll raise more pounds of beef per acre than they will, and we'll do it more efficiently. And so we're very bottom line oriented, very focused on the commercial cattleman, and we just wanted to spend this time to explain a little bit briefly what we're about and why we do it.
Another thing that we also do with our cow herd is not only all of the EPDs, but also the DNA testing and sonogramming of all of our cattle. So all of our EPDs are backed up by the 50K DNA data, which make those EPDs more accurate. And then also we have Casey Worrell come each year and scan all of our yearling heifers and bulls that we'll have left on the ranch. And that way we have an actual measurement now of ribeye, marbling, and back fat to know exactly what each one of our cows. We've got all this data on every single cow that we have ever raised.
And we'll have some other videos up, one where you will see Jed actually going out and weighing and tagging and doing what we do to a newborn calf, and that's just where the data collection starts. And we do that sort of stuff all the way through the process, so we know as much about that animal and their history as possible, so we can make the best breeding decisions, and that way you can rely on what you're getting from the products we produce.
And our goal, again, just so everybody knows, is to raise not only a good bull for a commercial cattleman, but raise a good bull for him, raise good heifers for people that want to buy heifers from us, but also if they do not buy heifers, if they buy a bull from us and go put it on their cattle, that our bull is going to allow them to raise heifers that'll make them a good cow herd. That's our goal, not just to raise good bulls for people, but to raise bulls that's going to make them a good cow herd.